Good morning. The other day, while driving with my kids, one of my boys looked out the window and said, "Hey, Mom, look over there. What is that flying in the sky?" And I looked and I couldn't quite tell what it was from where we were at. So jokingly, I replied, "Well, that's a UFO." "Really?" was their response. "I thought aliens and UFOs were not real. Are there really UFOs?" he asked, slightly shocked. "Well, yes," I said. "Do you know what UFO means?" UFO means an unidentified flying object. And since that object is flying and we cannot identify what it is, then it is a UFO. Then I proceeded to really grab his attention by saying, "Not only are there UFOs, but did you know that there are aliens?" "Mom," I got the reply from that one, complete with an eye roll. "No, really," I said, "we are aliens." "What are you talking about?" he replied. I said, "Well, an alien is someone who is not a citizen of the country they are in." "But we are citizens of America," came the reply. "Yes, but I'm not talking about this country of America. I'm talking about heaven." And then I did my best to explain to them what I will share with you in this devotional. The Bible says in 1 Peter 2:11, "Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul." This verse gives us a name with essentially the same meaning as alien. It calls us strangers and pilgrims. Well, the definition of a pilgrim is a traveler or a wanderer, especially in a foreign place. Now, as Christians, we are just pilgrims here on earth. I think that old song says it best: "This world is not my home. I'm just passing through." Do you ever feel like you just don't fit in? Do you feel out of place amongst maybe your fellow employees? That's actually a good thing. We should not fit in with this world because we are not of this world. Hebrews 13:14 says, "For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come." That verse is telling us that we are not citizens of this earth, but rather of heaven, and we are just waiting for that day that we will finally get to go home. And I believe that day is drawing very near, don't you? I can tell you right now that if I flew into, say, China or Peru or Mexico next week, I would stick out like a sore thumb. I would not fit in at all. Why not? Well, for one, I do not speak the language. My clothes would probably look very different from what the locals were wearing. I wouldn't be able to find my way around. I wouldn't know how to order from a menu. I probably wouldn't even know what some of their food was. Why? Well, because I'm a stranger in that land. I would be a pilgrim passing through on a vacation. Part of that song that I just mentioned says this: "I can't feel at home in this world anymore." I would not feel comfortable in those places that I just mentioned because they were not my home. And you should not feel comfortable here on this earth. You should feel like what you are: a stranger, a pilgrim, an alien in this world. In fact, if you feel at home, you shouldn't. Jesus mentions that in John 15:19. "If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you." Jesus tells us right there that we will not fit in this world. We shouldn't even try to. My sister has a duck, and for some weird, strange reason, that duck thinks it is a chicken. It follows my sister's chickens, and it tries to do whatever they are doing. But no matter how hard that duck tries to act, look, sleep, eat like a chicken, it is still a duck, and it will never be a chicken, and it will never fit in with those chickens. Don't try to be like that duck. Don't try to fit in with the chickens around you. Don't try to fit in with the world. It won't work. You are not of this world. You are just passing through. Don't be surprised if the closer you get to Christ, the further you find yourself from your old friends. You may want to spend more and more time with your church family, and that's a good thing. They are aliens too. They're pilgrims. They're passing through just like you. When things in this world get crazy, and they have a lot lately, and you feel there is just no hope, just remember, you are just passing through here. Thank God this world is not our home. Oh, and getting back to the story about our UFO, our little unidentified flying object turned out just to be a helicopter. My boys were a little bit disappointed that they didn't really get to see any aliens, well, other than their mother that was driving the car, maybe. So this week, when the news gets to you and gets you down, when you just don't seem to fit in at your job, or your coworkers have no desire to hear anything about church or God, when your unsaved family members, they think you're crazy for going to church, especially during COVID, what's wrong with you? Just remember, this world isn't our home. We are pilgrims on this earth. We are aliens. We're just passing through on our way to our home in heaven.